So, hello. I am in my hotel bathroom, and even though this video will probably just be my hometown friends watching, or like my friends watching this, if it does reach someone out of my friends, I hope this video helps you. But I wrote a bunch of things on my computer, my new computer, that I thought would be helpful to people who are trying to make friends in college, because I, for one, can say that it was rough out there. It was really rough. And so after my first semester of college, I have gathered some thoughts, and I thought it would be useful to other people to hear some advice if you are going through something like this. Also, to preface, a lot of these things I would say we have all heard in our lives, but I feel like a lot of these things were reinforced for me in college, so I'm sharing them. So the first thing is, not everyone is going to be your best friend. I don't know, I felt like when I was first meeting people, I really wanted best friends right off the bat, because that's what I've always had in high school and middle school. I've always had really good best friends, and when I didn't have that anymore, my first instinct is to try to find them again. And so that leads to my second point under it, which is telling people things that are vulnerable and deep about yourself won't automatically make you guys close. For a while, I don't know why, but when I came to college, I thought to make someone close to me, I just have to be vulnerable with them. But I realized that that's not the case. Just because they know something vulnerable and deep to you does not automatically entitle them to be close to you. There's kind of no explanation to that. And more so, that's just kind of a fact that I just learned. And credits to Amal if you're watching this, but me and Amal, who's one of my really, really good hometown best friends, we were talking about some of the things that we were learned over this past semester in college, and she brought up the idea of you really just gotta keep moving. And I kind of was confused. I was like, oh, what do you mean by that? But she meant to as, oh, when in high school, you kind of are sometimes forced to be friends with people because of how big your school is and just because of the way that high school is set up. But now in college, there's just so many more people, depending on the school size you go to, but both of us go to a much larger school than we did in high school. And so she was saying that when she became friends with people and she felt kind of maybe an off-putting feeling or just something uncomfortable, and the idea that I don't really want to be friends with these people, she just got up and left. Well, not actually just got up and left, that would be rude, but more so she realized that there are so many other people out there, and if these aren't your people, then no one's gonna pull you from being friends with them unless it's yourself. So if you want new friends, you gotta go and change that for yourself. I was talking to her about it, and I really related to this because I kind of went through a few trials of friends, I would say, and trials as in it's not I'm not friends with these people anymore, but it was just exploring people around me. But on one of these trials, I had the expectation that I wanted a friend group, and so I kind of had the idealized version that, oh, now that I'm friends with all these people who are supposed to be in this friend group that's in my head, this is it, right? But when I was thinking about it, I felt there was something off. I was oh, are these my people? And the fact that I even thought oh, are these my people, they weren't my people. They aren't the type of people I wanted to be spending 24/7 with. And that kind of leads to another piece of advice, which is have zero expectations when becoming friends with people. I feel my greatest friendships so far in my first semester of college have come out of having like zero expectations. And so this gets me to feeling like you have no friends. So while I was stuck with the feeling that I had no friends in college, and unless you're part of the 5% of people who meet their clique on like the first day, which you're so lucky. Unless you're one of those people, it is bound for you to feel this way, and it's completely justified. And although it doesn't change the situation by me telling you this, I think it's comforting to know that there are literally so many people like right now that feel exactly the way you do. And I can say that because that was literally me, and I can talk, and I've literally talked to my friends from high school who go to like different colleges who have feel the exact same thing. So just know you are not alone. As cringy as it sounds, you're not. And one of the things that helped me get through the months where I felt like I had no friends was remembering that these feelings are temporary. These things are temporary. You're not gonna feel this for the rest of your life. It's just for maybe for like a little longer, or maybe much longer, but not your entire life, okay? And I feel like the reason why I was so upset all the time was because I also chose to be alone than become friends with people that I would have to put up a front with. And I would say you'd rather be alone than have to put up a front, because if you have to put up a front, that never goes the right way. So you might as well be alone. And yes, being alone is lonely, and it sucks. But things gotta suck before you reach the good part, right? Like, what can I say? That's the game of life. That's the game of life. Excuse me. And I can't really tell you a one-step solution that will automatically get rid of this feeling and get you to have friends like immediately right now. But I can give you some tips on how to get through this chunk of time, or potentially shortening this time period. So number one is just try not to hyperfixate on the fact that you have no friends. Like, we know that you don't have, or like, in my head, I would be like, okay, like, we know, like, we as in me, like, I know that I don't have any friends, but there's literally no point in you hyperfixating about it, because you're just letting it take over your life. And life is so much more than just this feeling that you're feeling. And try not to complain about it. I would complain about this feeling I would have to my hometown friends, and it was like kind of a shock to them, because I was like that one kid who was like, I am not worried about making friends in college. Like, I would say I'm pretty extroverted, so I don't think I'll have a problem finding friends, which was true. I didn't have trouble finding friends, but I just didn't find like my people, if that makes sense. And so when I would call them and be like, oh, I'm so lonely, I have no friends, not that they can't really do much about it besides comfort you like the first couple times, but if you keep doing it, there's like no point. Like, doesn't benefit you for like talking about it so much, and it doesn't benefit them. Like, it's kind of more like draining them, and you don't really want to do that, you know? This is a very generic and basic piece of advice, but everyone says it for a reason, and it's to join extracurriculars. Whether that would be a sport, an academic club, Greek life, or even office hours. I am no statistics major, but the probability of you making one friend out of all the people you meet increases with the amount of people you expose yourself to. Let's think about that. And so, lastly, the last piece of advice I have doesn't really help with making friends, but it's more like with dealing with friendships in general in college, and I guess in life. But I love talking about this. I love talking about like friendships because it's such like a good thing. I think this is a very valuable thing to have in your mind. And I feel like a lot of people have heard of this. And if you haven't, here you go. But people say that friends are in your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. And when you realize that a friend is in your life for either a reason or a season, after this time period, I want to tell you that you aren't entitled to keep sharing with them the same amount of stuff as you used to. And you are justified to, for example, remove them from your close friend story. Yeah, that's like the only thing that I can use as like an analogy, but like you can do that like even if you don't have like a close friend story, but like you can remove them from your close friends. Do you know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be like you're physically like removing them, but like mentally like you can remove them. If, for example, you do physically removing them from your close friend story and you're worried about how they're gonna react or feel about you doing that and them realizing and be like, oh my god, whatever. If they are truly know you and truly know that you wouldn't remove them out of ill intent and they are mature, they would understand. And the same thing goes like the other way when you figure out that you're not part of someone's close friends anymore. Instead of, I feel like a lot of people tend to be like, oh, immediately they don't like me anymore, or they're rude or something like that. I think we should think about how maybe their logic is, oh, we don't really talk anymore. We're kind of out of the loop with each other's lives. We're kind of moving in different directions. And that's kind of a reason why we're no longer on each other's close friends, or I don't consider you my close friend anymore. That kind of makes sense, you know? Coming to this realization also does not mean you do not like this person anymore, or the person on the other side does not like you anymore. This just means that your time with them is up for now and you're both moving on in different directions. And I like to think of it as you rather have this friendship end on a good note with only good memories than dragging this friendship into another part of your life in which the quality of this friendship decreases. And so the friendship is tainted in a way because you guys aren't in alignment anymore. Yeah. Those are my 2 cents. But I think friendship is such a beautiful thing, and I've been so blessed with the greatest friends ever, I would like to say. And I genuinely hope that everyone in their lives gets to experience a true friendship because it's so amazing. And I know my homeboys are watching this. Anyways, yeah, peace out. I hope that somebody out there got use out of this. Peace.